Let us talk today about design and architecture. Design is taking into account users' expectations, taking into account his day-to-day activities, putting technology, putting knowledge, and putting productivity around it to offer a value proposition. Now, architecture is the discipline which brings together this design and the utility part of it and the user experience part of it together. It is wrong to assume that architects are only in civil engineering. Architects are everywhere. Architects are there in IT shop, architects are there in factory. Essentially, people who are dealing with things which will make the idea into a reality in a productive and a feasible manner while it is pleasing and it is delivering the goods is architecture. Now, what are the principles of design and architecture that we must know at the most basic level in order to appreciate this beautiful and great science called architecture? There are just 4 or 5 principles. The first one is to consider the intuition and the normal behavior of the users while designing something. Nobel laureate Thaler gives an experience of his taking a class where students used to go out of the classroom. Now the classroom door has a handle affixed inside. Whenever there is a handle affixed to a door, the general instinct is to pull it. So most of the students, including the teacher and Thaler himself, used to keep on pulling it while the action required is pushing it in order to open it. So a small handle can confuse a lot of people if it is affixed at the wrong place. Just think about in our day-to-day situation. If the stop sign at a junction is given in green, generally people will jump it. They will be confused. Second important thing in architecture and design is to consider the default option. Just imagine when your computer is there, at what time the screensaver comes on, or at what time it switches off if there is no action. For example, when there are chainsaws which are used for cutting trees, many times trees fall on the person. So if you do not operate for a long time, the chainsaw switches itself in order to not harm yourself more. Other example of default is default renewal of your fixed deposit, default renewal of your Netflix subscription, default renewal of your maintenance dues. All those things keep helping not just the company which is benefiting out of it, but also the subscriber who is going into it. The third thing that is important is to think of the possibility of error. Have you gone to an ATM? Have you seen that you insert the card in one way and that is not the right way? You try to align, there are pictures on the card receiver that this is the way to put it. All that it is required, and it has been experimented in many places, to have 2 or 3 side card readers, because an ATM card can be inserted in just 4 ways: upside down and inside out. So if these 4 ways can be taken care, there is so much of good experience. Also think about, you are going to a petrol pump and many people have had engine troubles because instead of diesel as the fuel they have put petrol, or vice versa. Somebody in Spain designed a nozzle where the nozzle will go, petrol nozzle is different and diesel nozzle are different. Problem solved. Let us go to another example, which is giving a cue so that the behavior of the customer or behavior of the user when you are doing design principle is correct. One example of this is a fake fly image is there in the urinal. In Amsterdam airport, when it was first introduced, before it was copied in all over the world, was that it prevented urine getting out because of lack of attention of the user who is using the urinal by almost 80%. So giving a cue to the user is also very, very important. Next important thing is feedback. Whenever you are designing, you are using a digital camera. I am looking into it. After clicking the digital camera, the moment I see a picture, the experience is so much more superior. So small feedback whenever you are designing a solution always helps in creating a superior user experience. The last thing about architecture is the value proposition explained and experienced simply. You are using a washing machine. How many times you were worried that what is the RPM of the machine and how much time it takes and You are more worried how many clothes it will wash and how long it will take. If that is explained, which is being done in many of the newer design of washing machines, how many, in picture, how many clothes you can put, instead of telling 8 kg load, 7 kg load and 1200 rpm, 1400 rpm, which are technical jargon. If we simplify the value proposition and make complex decisions easy, then design will be good. The first thing is that let us have a default option. Second is that let us give errors a chance. Let us make it intuitive and aligned to the experience that the customer expects, and let us also take into account how the value proposition can be explained simply and also give customer the feedback. Thank you very much.